Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Going Rounds podcast, episode 55 on a Thursday night. Ready to talk some UFC 292 action this weekend. Got the pay-per-view with the two title fights going on. So, big event this weekend. Um that's the main focus of today, because obviously when there's a big pay-per-view, it's always fun to go over that and talk about that. We got two title fights, a women's title fight and a men's title fight, both in the lower weight classes. So good stuff, fun stuff. Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley press conference today. They were going at it, heated, talking mad shit. And Weili Zhang versus Amanda Lemos is, they both, English is the second language for both of them. So the shit talking doesn't go very far on that one. But I think Eljo and Suga made up for it. They definitely took center stage and talked the most. And then you had Garry versus Neil Magny talking a lot too. I guess Garry's got a big problem with Neil Magny and something he said in an interview in the media. So apparently that's a thing, and I guess they got some beef now. Either that or Garry's just playing the part and hyping it up. Either way, got me pumped up. It was a decent press conference. These things aren't as good as they used to be. They used to be crazy. They used to be insane. They kind of hyped it down a little bit. It seems like they found a way to make it less crazy, I guess you could say. So, but I don't know. Conor hasn't been involved in one in a while, so maybe the next Conor one will get crazy. Who knows? There hasn't been big fireworks. There hasn't been lots of controversy. Nothing crazy in the press conferences. So, but yeah, that's the biggest thing going on this weekend. A lot going on last weekend. A lot of different things. We had a big boxing match that I failed to cover. I totally just completely faced it. It wasn't one of those things that was out there being talked about a ton. So I overlooked it, and I mean, it's all good. It's boxing. I don't focus on boxing here. A lot of my focus is on MMA, but I do like to cover boxing. It's one of the biggest combat sports, the sweet science and all. And I respect it. But sometimes those matches kind of go under the radar. It's hard to keep track of everything all the time. So uh that's one of those that I kind of screwed up on and forgot to mention. So I'm gonna recap that a little bit this week, because there was a lot going on during that event. Anthony Joshua versus Helenius, I believe his name is, who fought Deontay Wilder not too long ago, I believe. But I feel bad. I'm like forgetting this first name. Robert Helenius. Yes, that's his first name. I somewhat knew what it was, but I didn't want to be wrong. I had to look at it real quick. But yeah, that and then Connor's been everywhere. Of course, again, he gives it like a week or two, maybe a couple weeks off, and next thing you know, he's all about it again, being everywhere, doing too much, and getting crazy. I don't know if he's ever gonna slow it down and chill out and focus on fighting. Nobody knows at this point, but sometimes you just gotta chill out, man, and maybe go a little bit unseen for a little while. What do they say? Distance makes the heart grow fonder, or some shit like that. I don't know. I am definitely not I'm not one of those people that know all these sayings off the top of my head, but it is what it is. Let's see what else we got going on. As for me, this week, it's a lot of the same. Work is work. Work causes all of my headaches, but that's how I make my money. And sometimes I enjoy what I do, but there's a lot of extra bullshit that goes on. That's the other thing. I don't know if people have noticed, but if you listen to podcasts at all whatsoever, if any of the podcasts you listen to are kind of big time, there's been a whole thing, people not cussing. I don't know what it is. I get it. For a little while there, YouTube did this thing, you cuss in the first like 30 seconds or the first 4 minutes or some bullshit like that, that your video gets pushed lower to the bottom and doesn't get put into the algorithm as high and isn't shown as much and all that. I don't know. I'm not down with that bullshit. I'll say what I want. I just said bullshit like 4 times in a row or within a minute. So I don't care. I don't care. I First of all, my shit's not monetized, so whatever. At this point, I don't care. Um, Sooner or later, maybe, who knows? But I'm just here to and talk about all the fights and everything else, and I'm gonna be real, and that's part of my vocabulary. It is, it that's what it is. I don't know what to say, and I don't keep up with all the stuff. Maybe that's why I haven't gotten bigger. I haven't grown my channel as much as I'd hope. So maybe I need to start paying attention. But it just seems like everybody's changing what they do week by week, and it's kind of nutty. It sucks. It's a lot to keep up with, and I don't have a team behind me. It's just me doing all this. So if it doesn't come across in front of my face, then whatever. I just know that I've noticed a lot of beeping out and censoring of things with a lot of the podcasts I listen to. So I'm not gonna do that unless I get told I can't be on YouTube, and then I guess I'll just not do this live, record it, and put it on Spotify, because I put it on Spotify anyway. You can watch the video and listen to the audio, or listen audio only on Spotify. You can do either one. So if you're looking for that and don't want to deal with YouTube, go check it out. Also, you can listen to the audio only anywhere else. It's a quick way for me to remind everybody. And don't forget to like and subscribe too here on YouTube, so that it helps me maybe grow my channel a little more. Share it with somebody, that'd be cool. Tell somebody about it, and just keep going and trying to make things better always. I feel a little stagnant lately with things. You know, I got my video where I wanted it. I've got my audio where I want it. I was trying to mess with the background a little bit, get it looking better, stuff like that. I think I just need to maybe change the format up a little bit, and maybe just not feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. It's tough though. It's a lot of work, and if I change it up, then I have to kind of go through a different process. So I don't know. People change up their podcasts all the time. I feel like I'll change it here and there and see what catches on the best. But for now, we'll stick to this format. We'll keep going. I'll keep doing what I do and talking about the fights every week. And I need to get a guest on soon. Robert. The hell, I was reading that. Not Robert. Patrick and Clark. I was reading this screen over here. Patrick and Clark haven't been on in a while. I haven't had any other guests. I thought I was gonna be going out of town a bunch this week. These upcoming weeks for work, and I haven't had to. So plans changed a little bit, and I kind of fell short with thinking about and planning what I was gonna do for the podcast as far as possible guests. So I apologize for that. Maybe next week, depending on how this week's pay-per-view goes, I'll have a guest next week. See if anybody wants to jump on and maybe talk about what happened this past weekend, especially if we get a change of hands with why is my screen funky? Um but if we get a change of hands with the belts, with the titles and stuff, and if we get a bunch of exciting fights, I know I believe it's next week's card for the fight night is actually pretty decent as well. Oh yeah, Max Holloway versus a Korean Zombie is next weekend. So after this big UFC card, I'm sorry, this big pay-per-view card, we have a big fight night. It's actually happening. Oh my gosh. It's at 5 a.m. in the morning, so that's gonna be nutty. The main event starts at 5 a.m. because they're doing it, I believe, in where is it happening? Somewhere on the far east side of the world. I think I don't know if it's Singapore, Japan, or I don't even know where it is. But it's Max Holloway versus the Korean Zombie, Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann, Aaron Blanchfield versus Talia Santos, Junior Tafa versus Parker Porter. That's a hell of a main card. And then Renya Nikamura versus Ernie Garcia. I'm not exactly sure what those two are. But yeah, that's a decent card. So we'll have something to talk about in advance. So maybe I can get a guest on next week, because it's been a minute. So anyway, those are the things I wanted to talk about to get it going here. But let's get to the main stuff. Quick drink. Magix, what's up? Oh, I don't have my chat up on the screen. That's why I didn't notice it. Hey, finally in China. Tom says China. I don't have my sounds right here, so I would have played it though. I can do it. What am I doing? Maybe it is in
China.
That's, if you ever listen to the Rumble podcast, I play that sound a lot because for some reason that seems to be something that catches on and it's hilarious. But yeah, 5 a.m. That's early as shit. I might catch the end of the main card, but I don't know that I'm catching that card while it's live. So replay it is. Let's get to it. Combat Sports News. We're gonna get going with some Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg, because there was a little bit of news coming up this week from that one, and it's not good news when it comes if you're a fan of the fight that was supposed to be happening, because Mark Zuckerberg came out and talked about a text exchange of some sort or something happening between them, and it's just not sounding like it's promising for actually the fight to actually happen. They had a little exchange going on. It looks like Elon Musk says, want to do a practice bout at your house next week? And Zuckerberg says, if you still want to do a real MMA fight, then you should train on your own and let me know when you're ready to compete. I don't want to keep hyping something that will never happen. So you should either decide you're going to do this and do it soon, or we should move on. And Elon says, I will be in Palo Alto on Monday. Let's fight in your octagon. I have not been practicing much, apart from a brief bout with Lex Friedman today. So that doesn't sound great. I don't think Elon wants to smoke. Mark Zuckerberg is all about that shit. So he then posted this. I think we can all agree Elon isn't serious and it's time to move on. I afforded a real date. Dana White offered to make this a legit competition for charity. Elon won't confirm a date, then says he needs surgery, and now asks to do a practice round in my backyard instead. If Elon ever gets serious about a real date and official event, he knows how to reach me. Otherwise, time to move on. I'm going to focus on competing with people who take the sport seriously. So, like I said, Zuckerberg's all about it, but looks like Elon Musk, being the 51-year-old I think he is like, nah, bro, I'm too fucking rich for this shit. I should have shut up in the first place. That's me putting words in his mouth, but he doesn't want it. He doesn't want to deal with it. So he's too rich and too busy. He's got more problems on his hands, like dealing with, I was going to say Twitter, but X, and people thinking it's a porn site now because it's named X. What did you expect? You can't go to x.com and not think you're not gonna see some porn. I mean, you can see porn on Twitter. I'm sure most of you have come across it at some point in time. What is Magic saying? They some little girls, they need to do this old school, be on the flagpole at 3:15, be there, be square. Fuck yeah. Yeah, man, just fucking fight it out already. Just meet up somewhere. Just do that shit. Meet up somewhere, make it a street fight. Promise each other you won't, curb stomp each other, and get that shit done. But yeah, it's looking like it's not going to happen. And then Elon was already talking about dropping the UFC from being a part of it and doing it on their own, and saying he has his own platform, he doesn't need them, and all this other shit. So, Dana White went as far as making shirts and everything like that. They were selling them at the Fan Expo even. You know, he posted a picture of himself with it and all that shit, and it's not going anywhere. That's got to piss Dana White off, because he doesn't usually like to get behind things and then have them fall out, because he likes things to be successful, even though power slap and all that bullshit. But anyway, let's move on to some real shit. Anthony Joshua versus Robert Helenius. I always have trouble with that name. It's tough. But that Viking-looking motherfucker right there on the right. So this was supposed to have been a different fight. I don't remember exactly who the hell he was supposed to fight. Anthony Joshua was supposed to fight somebody else. But he wound up fighting Helenius. And yeah, it was a pretty decent fight, because, well, there was a knockout for once. It didn't go all 12 rounds or whatever they were doing. But I'm trying to see if I can find out who his opponent was supposed to have been. That's annoying. But who cares? He was a late replacement, and Helenius got knocked the fuck out. So that sucks for him. Anthony Joshua, though, just kind of proving that he's still at the top and waiting to get those big fights. Here's a couple. It's a nasty neck punch there that I don't know how they caught that, but that looks bad. He looks like he is a little kid getting punched in the schoolyard, so kind of what Magic's talking about. But let's see. I can't find it. That sucks. But that's alright, because there was plenty going on in this fight. As you can see here, Joshua just showing his power, showing how dominant he can be over someone like Helenius, who, you know, seems to put it all out there and get his ass whooped every time he fights. I mean, I hate to say that, but at the same time, every time I've seen him fight, he gets knocked the fuck out. So it's pretty bad. But he's a decent boxer. It's just he's not good with these upper echelon guys that wind up putting it on him quickly and fucking too much power, too much pressure. So yeah, Anthony Joshua got that KO and wound up getting the victory. And there was star-studded crowd, I guess. There was a bunch of people in the crowd, but most of all, Conor McGregor showed up with a harem of girls. One of them being Ebony Bridges, who's the one on the far right there. She's actually a professional boxer, a world champion boxer at that. And they've been seen together before at other events. But he was promoting his forged Irish Stout, his new beer that he has. So he doesn't only have the proper 12 whiskey that he, I think, sold, and yeah, now he's promoting his Irish Stout beer. So it's all over the place. You see him with it everywhere. But yeah, he rolled up with a bunch of girls. Came out this like Sprinter van with all these girls behind him, and yeah, he was getting a little too friendly with them, if you ask me. I mean, he's married, he's got kids, he's been accused of cheating and all that shit before, but he doesn't give a fuck, because he does what he wants, and he'll do nothing about it. That's what he always says. But he also jumped in the fucking ring and called out KSI like an idiot. I don't know why he's doing this shit. You know, he's always got to get in there, say something. I don't know who the fuck let him in the ring. But, of course, they're like, oh, cool. Our promotion's going to get, you know, lots of views for this and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, he got in the ring, calls out KSI, talks some bullshit about how he couldn't box if he worked in an egg boxing facility. I don't know. Some cringy-ass stupid shit. He just says some dumb shit sometimes. But he was just being cringy all night, because after Joshua won, he jumped out the ring, and of course Conor's there shoving beers in his face. You know, look at Joshua. His face is all bloodied up, and you got this little Irish fuck standing in front of you, screaming in your ear, can't understand a word he's fucking saying, and he's drunk as shit, probably coked out, and allegedly. And I saw plenty of things where they showed him on camera, plenty of posts, plenty of articles, and plenty of pictures where they showed him on camera saying, look at those pupils, because they were gigantic. But of course, he's promoting his beer, so he wants to get the champ in there drinking his beer, and he was being a good little beer bitch, and even, you know, pouring some beer in the mouth of Anthony Joshua, which, by the way, I heard a lot of people talking shit. I did see a video that showed, you know, that had some audio, and it showed Conor running up to Anthony Joshua and talking to him, and Joshua was like, hey, where's my forged stout? Where's my forged stout? So he, like, turned around, got him a beer, you know, poured it in his mouth like he's his little baby. Actually, it's like Conor's the little kid trying to give his dad a drink of his, you know, pretend beer. That's what that looks like. And dude, just doing too much, man. I mean, this is horrible. Like, Joshua's all bloody and shit. He's got beer. Now he's foaming at the mouth from all the fucking foam on the beer. It's not a good look. Conor looks crazy. And that suit's horrible. I don't know. He usually looks better than that, but that suit's horrible. But yeah, Conor, bro, you're doing too much, man. Too much. Like, I get the promotion. I respect the hustle. But fucking A, what are you doing? And Joshua looks like, whoa, it's too much, man. Too much in my mouth. I'm bloody. I don't know. It's fucking awkward and cringy. So, then we move to, as I explained, Ebony Bridges. So they were, you know, photographed together in another fucking event. There was an interview with her talking about all of the controversy of them two being together and how people are talking about them and what might be going on and whatnot. But, you know, she is a professional boxer. She said, hey, listen, people are talking shit about me being a ring card girl and a promo girl and all this other shit, but that's what I was before I started boxing professionally. So, I mean, I guess she's not wrong in that case, and it is what it is. She's getting paid. That's what she said. She's getting paid to do this shit, but, you know, she also gets a lot of promotion for herself and gets her face out there. Being with Conor McGregor all the time, somebody's always going to write something about it, always going to take pictures. It's going to pop up everywhere. That's what happens. So she's a smart girl. She's getting herself out there. She also has an OnlyFans if you're into that and want to check it out. There's your OnlyFans girl of the week. Sure, you've seen her pop up here and there somewhere, but she is a badass. She's a badass boxer. Hot. I mean, what can you say? But Conor's not doing much as to not feed into the rumors. He's definitely feeding into them big time. Because then you got pictures like this, and I mean, obviously. So him pouring beer in Anthony Joshua's mouth like this made sense because Joshua had the gloves on still. But Ebony Bridges pouring this into Conor's mouth when he's just sitting. I don't know, man. It's not a good look when you're married with kids and talk about how much. I guess like the next day he's posting all over the place about how much he loves his wife, which is hilarious and also very convenient. But Conor, man, I don't know. It's just not a good look. But anyway, he was there promoting his shit. Everybody's got the beer in their hands and whatnot. Blah, blah. Either way, biggest thing is Anthony Joshua got a big win under his belt, which is good. Shows that he's still up there in the upper echelon of boxers, ready to fight some of the bigger names, even though a lot of people doubted him. So, and then you got Conor all over the place. But we're going to stay on that Conor track for a minute because Logan Paul had something to say to him. And let's get to that real quick.
You're so confident in your boy. I got a bet for you. I got $1 million that says I beat your boy on October 14th. Come on, bro. Come on. I know you caked up. See how confident you are. You're so confident in your boy. I got a bet for you. I got $1 million that says
$1 million that he'll beat Dylan Dennis because that's who he's talking about. And this all got sparked because Conor did this course, he's got to say something because Dylan Dennis is scheduled to fight Logan Paul on October 14th, I believe, for the Prime card on DAZN Boxing. And Conor says, "You woke up an animal. Dylan will win for sure. I'm going to train him for this. I guarantee a win." So, of course, he says something like, "I guarantee a win." And if you're a Paul brother, that's game on to talk some shit. So Logan says, I'm betting $1 million. And he got roasted for that one because a lot, you know, he's got a lot of allegations of not paying people what they're supposed to get paid for boxing matches under him on his cards and some other shit, some other contractual stuff that he has in the background. And people are like, well, if you got $1 million to bet Conor McGregor that you're going to beat his boy, why can't you just pay these people? They're not wrong. But Logan's going to do what Logan's going to do, and the shit talking's going to continue, and it's going to get worse. And Dylan Dennis has been all over the fucking place posting, mostly on X, Twitter, posting pictures of Logan Paul's girlfriend, and all of her exes. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, she's a grown woman. She can do whatever, but she's got a roster. She's a public figure, so people know what this roster is. People like Leonardo DiCaprio, fucking, just so many. It's like Tom Brady in there. Fucking, I don't even know. I think it was Tom Brady. I don't even know. You just name a star and she has a picture with him because at some point in time she was dating or a fuck buddy with, whatever. So that, yeah, it's funny. Dylan Dennis, I guess, is doing well in that department, the shit talking department, because Logan Paul and Jake Paul are really good at roasting people and making those videos that get the views and fucking dunk on people and shit. But Dylan Dennis is coming up with some good shit and making it awkward at the same time. So I don't expect anything less from Dylan Dennis. He's a fucking waste of space is really what he is. He's fucking annoying. I don't like him. He's stupid. And I've never seen the dude do something that I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, I shouldn't hate on him. No, this dude is just a fucking douche and a half. So if you couldn't tell by this picture, I've hated him since the bullshit with Khabib and all that, and it just gets worse. And he doesn't show up for fights. He schedules fights, he signs contracts, and then he doesn't show up for the fight. He's a little bitch, and I hope Logan beats his ass, honestly. So, and what's sad is, you know, I should be going for Dylan Dennis because he is on the MMA side. He fights. He's had like 2 or 3 fights in MMA when he's not dropping out or deciding to cancel the fights. So I should be rooting for him, but I can't. He's a fucking jackass. I don't like him. He falls under that category. And, you know, I respect Conor and everything that he does, because at least he has done something of that matters in his career. Dylan Dennis is a very highly decorated jiu-jitsu practitioner, but besides that, I don't really know what he's done, because he sucks at MMA, and I doubt he can box. I don't care how much Conor wants to train him, because look, Conor just trained a bunch of people in the Ultimate Fighter, and he had nobody win. So I don't know what kind of training, whatever. Maybe is that a testament to his coaches who he left to train these guys because he didn't do well? I don't know. But if he's gonna train Dylan Dennis is for sure gonna lose. If we didn't think it before, I think it now. I think it's been proven. I can't even talk because that's how much is going through my head about how stupid this is. I think it's been proven that fucking Conor is not a good coach. Not a good coach at all. And he's not great at boxing. He lost to Mayweather, which that's different. But, I mean, he did okay, but he still lost. And that's his only professional, real boxing match. So for him to sit here and say he's going to guarantee a win for Dylan Dennis because he's training him, the fuck out of here. Yeah. So let's move on. Move on from the rant. Bellator 298 happened last week. Logan Storley versus Brennan Ward. This was a gigantic card. There was like 17 fucking fights on this card. Ridiculous. I will not go through all of them because that's crazy. The main event, the two guys you see on the poster, Logan Storley versus Brennan Ward. Logan Storley got the win by TKO in the second round over Brennan Ward. The only other ones that I will bring up, James Gallagher got a win over James Gonzalez. Split decision. Justine Kish got a win over Diana Avsaragova. Too hard to say. Unanimous decision. And I think that's really it out of anybody I know. Everyone else is like, I don't know. But that happened last week. I know it's sad, but Bellator, these are some of these fights, especially have 17 fucking fights on this card, is crazy. And I didn't hear much about it at all. I don't even know that any of the podcasts I listened to even covered it. I don't even know that they even mentioned it. So I don't know. That's Bellator for you, though. Like I said, it's rough, man, for Bellator. So BKFC 48 also happened last Friday. John Dodson versus Junior Ridge or JR Ridge. I'm not sure which one it is. Either way, it was the inaugural flyweight title for BKFC. So the first title fight in the flyweight division for BKFC, and John Dodson was able to pull that off and get that belt with a win over Ridge by KO in the first round, 1:49. So that's a quick ass fucking fight. And John Dodson, with those heavy bricks for hands that he has, got the KO early. So congrats to him. I'm happy to hear that because I like John Dodson. I think that he found himself a good home here with BKFC. He's always been about those heavy hands and throwing those quick strikes, and he's a good guy in his weight division. So and he's still got the fire under him to keep going and get those wins. So I'm happy for him. It's good for him to get that title. Nothing much else in here. Oh, Bryce Hall got a win over Guillermo Perez by TKO in the second round. Bryce Hall is a YouTuber as well who made his way, YouTuber/TikToker, I think. I don't know. I've heard his name before. I know he's one of those influencer types, but he made his way into the BKFC and got a big win. And it sounded like he did fairly well. I didn't watch these fights, but it sounded like he did pretty well. So congrats to him for that one. And that's it that I know of. The rest of these fights, I mean, there's a lot of decisions in there. So one majority draw even. Yeah, craziness. But let's move on to some more MMA. We got the PFL going on this Friday, tomorrow night on ESPN and ESPN Plus. This is the playoffs going on right now. And let's see, we have main event in the heavyweight division. Maurice, the crochet boss, Green, because when he was on The Ultimate Fighter, he would crochet every day. Like, they would show him always on camera crocheting something, which is weird. But he's also a training partner of John Jones, one of his main training partners, and John Jones is like his mentor, basically. So Maurice Green versus Renan Fajeda. So that's happening. That's the main event. Under them, we have Larissa Pacheco versus Elena Kolesniak, who, by the way, missed weight by like 6 pounds. So it's a catch weight fight at 148 now. Larissa Pacheco is the woman that beat Kayla Harrison. Oh my God, I almost forgot her name. She hasn't been around in a bit. So, but she beat Kayla Harrison last year. And that was one of the bigger fights because Kayla hadn't been beaten yet. So, let's see who else we got here. Not a whole lot else going on down there as far as notables. Oh, Amber Leibrock versus Marina I can't say that name. That one's fucking tough. That's a featherweight bout for the women. And that's about it. But, you know, the PFL has the seasons going on, so they do the playoffs, and they're all fighting to get to those finals and win that $1 million purse, which is pretty goddamn good for, you know, just any fighter to be able to get there and win that. But their fight schedule is crazy. They got to cut weight a lot. You know, they could be fighting within a couple of months, like 2 or maybe even 3 times sometimes. So yeah, and this is proof of that because we also have another PFL event going on Wednesday, August 23rd. So not only is there a PFL event on Friday, but there's also one on Wednesday. So I figured I'd go ahead and try to cover that one real quick. Because we got Clay Collard versus Shane Burgos, which Burgos is the replacement fighter for Natan. What the hell is his last name? Schulte, I think. But he was the guy that fought his training partner, and it was like some lackluster, shitty fight. They like basically just grappled with each other. It looked like a sparring session, and Natan Schulte got the win by unanimous decision, but PFL decided that fight didn't count. They basically said, you didn't fight up to your potential, so we can't let you continue in the playoffs. So they dropped him and told him he was done for the season. And I think they even like suspended them both. And they put Shane Burgos, who was next in line, to take his place in the playoffs. Only problem with that is Shane Burgos is like one of their highly touted signings coming from the UFC, who the UFC admittingly regretted like letting him go. At least Dana White did. So there was controversy in putting him in. They were saying that, you know, it seems too coincidental that they let Shane Burgos come in because he's like one of their biggest fighters that they were touting, I guess. I don't know. Either way, he's fighting Clay Collard. So a little bit of controversy there, but we also have Olivier Aubin-Mercier, former UFC fighter as well, fighting Bruno Miranda in the lightweight division. We got Carlos Leal Miranda versus Sadabu C, who is always in a really good, exciting fight. Last time he got a quick knockout, nasty knockout, to get to this portion of the the playoffs. That's a welterweight bout. Then we got Magomed Magomedov versus Solomon Renfro in the welterweight division as well. Biagio Ali Walsh versus Ed Davis. And I think that's about it. So a few more notable names on this card going on Wednesday night. Also on ESPN and ESPN Plus, I believe. So you got that to watch. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming up this week besides the pay-per-view on Saturday. On Tuesday, you'll have Dana White's Contender Series because that season's going on right now. And then you'll have PFL on Wednesday. So got some shit to watch during the week if you want to check all that out. So let's move over to last thing in combat sports news. There was a announcement about some rule changes going on when it comes to MMA. So it says 2 brand new rules designed to help MMA fighters after they sustain a foul. A foul being a clash of heads, eye poke, low blow, like a crotch shot or something. Anything like that. It says these were just voted in at the Association of Boxing Commissions conference last week in Nevada. McGregor, I don't know who that is, but this was a quote from him. Number 1, when a foul occurs, whether it's a clash of heads, whether it's an illegal strike of some kind, and you have a cut, fighters will now have up to 5 minutes to recover from that cut. During that time, a cut person can come into the ring or cage and they can tend to that wound. They can't tend to anything else, but they can tend to the wound. It used to be that a fighter had to resume the fight, make it to the end of the round, and only then the cut person can come in. They've changed that to say the cut person can address it immediately to give that fighter a better chance of being able to continue. Which means you get a clash of heads, you bump you get a cut on the eyebrows, that happens a lot, or on the top of the head. Due to that clash of heads, then, they can tend to that. They can get the bleeding to stop. They can put some Vaseline on it, and then you continue on. You get your 5 minutes. A legal strike, downward elbow, or knee to the head, or anything like that. So I mean, that's kind of cool because that can change some things. I guess it's not like a massive change, but it's a notable one for sure. And then the second one, rule number 2, this rule is designed to deal with how referees and doctors work together after an illegal eye poke. McGregor continued, when an eye poke occurs, timeout is called and the fighter has up to 5 minutes to recover. Here's the new nuances. Number 1, officials can give the fouled fighter a cold compress and they can put it on their eye to give them some time to recover. After a minute or 90 seconds, only then should the ringside physician come in. So basically, the doctor can't come in until after at least a minute or up to a minute and a half after it all happens to come check it out. If possible, the doctor should not immediately shine a light in the fighter's eye and say, "Can you see?" Because that's fucking stupid, and they do it all the time. Of course you can't fucking see. Not only did you get eye poked and your eye's fucking killing you and you might have done some damage, but then you flash a fucking flashlight in their eye and now they're blinded and they're seeing fucking black spots and shit. Of course you can't see. The fuck? So then it says because the answer is often no, they can't see right away, and then the fight is called. Instead, these rules are designed to say, look, give the fighters time to recover, give them a tool to recover, let the fighter enjoy much of the 5 minutes, and then, and only then, ask if their vision is obstructed. If it is, of course, the bout is over. If it's not, they had a fair chance to recover. So, now they have time. They don't have to feel rushed. They don't have to feel pressured. They don't have to be asked every 2 seconds, are you okay? Do you want to continue? What's happening? Can you see? They don't have to have a fucking flashlight stuck in their eyeball and have a fucking doctor trying to stick fingers in their eyes and shit. They have time now. And they have a tool to help recover with, which is a cold compress. Which, will it help? It might not help. Who the fuck knows? But at least you get something. But before it would just be like you walk around in circles holding your eye, get a doctor come in, they stick their fingers in your fucking eyes, they put a flashlight in there, you can't see shit even more than you couldn't before, and then they call the fight because they don't think that you're good to continue. So it's all stupid. With these rule changes though, it sounds like, they're taking a step in the right direction at least, because eye pokes are a fucking pain in the ass. It's so stupid. It ruins so many fights, and it sucks. And this might not be the change that's necessary to stop eye pokes from happening, but at least when you get eye poked, you have a chance. You have some time without being pressured. You're not constantly being asked if you can see or not, and then having to lie or being truthful and then getting the fight stopped. It's all bullshit. You got some time. You got a way to help with it a little bit, and then they decide after, instead of having that doctor all up in your shit right away. So, not bad. Could make a difference. Maybe not. But it's some rule changes. It's heading in the right direction if they continue to, look over these rules and make alterations to them or change them or make up new rules. It's a good thing. So, it's good to see it. Hopefully we see more of it coming up soon. Let's move on to The Ultimate Fighter 31. Season 31, the finale. Well, not the finale yet, because the finale is considered the finale when the 2 final fights actually happen, which is happening on this card this weekend on the pay-per-view. In the prelims, the 2 final bouts are happening for this season. So this was just the final episode of the season that was happening on ESPN Plus. And of course, it was basically a fight between, what fight was it? Well, they considered it, I don't know. it got confusing at the end. I'll be real. I didn't pay attention. I missed most of the last few episodes. I watched the one with not Clay Collard. I'm looking at this from PFL. I watched the one with Austin Hubbard and Holuba because that was a dope ass fight. But these other ones, not so much. They had one guy from the last actual team member from the original McGregor team, and he lost. So that's Cody Gibson. Got him in a rear naked choke, subbed him, and it was done. So that's it for the season. Austin Hubbard. I'm sorry. I get these guys mixed up. Cody Gibson got the win to secure his spot in the finals. And let's see here. I want to get these correct. Let's see, what was it? Picked up another first round finish. They never just tell me what I want to know. I had this up, but apparently I closed it like a dumbass. But let's see. It was Rico DeCilio who Cody Gibson was fighting in the bantamweight division. And yeah, Cody Gibson obviously gets the win. First round submission. And now we have the final matchups for this weekend. We got, in the prelims of the pay-per-view, we have Austin Hubbard versus Kurt Holuba in the lightweight final. And then we have Brad Katona versus Cody Gibson in the bantamweight final. Now, Brad Katona has a Team McGregor jersey on, but that's because he got moved over and he volunteered to go over to Team McGregor after all of the rest of his team was out, so that there could still be, for aesthetics reasons, there could still be McGregor teams in the finals. But yeah, either way, all these guys were from the vets. None of the prospects made it. None of the rookies made it. Yeah, none of them. It's all guys that have been in the UFC before. And Brad Katona being a former Ultimate Fighter winner already. So this could be his chance to be the first ever two-time Ultimate Fighter winner. And I guess he said something on the episode about being the Ultimate Fighter, or I don't know, the Ultimate Fighter or some shit like that. I don't know. He said something. It was kind of funny. It wasn't too funny though, because I don't fucking remember what it was. Or I just have a bad memory. That could be it too. Either way. And then yeah, Austin Hubbard versus Kurt Holuba, which I don't think Austin Hubbard's gonna stand and bang with Holuba like Jason Knight did. So I don't know if it's gonna be that fantastic of a fight, but who knows, because they are fighting to become the Ultimate Fighter champion in their respective division. So we're gonna have two Ultimate Fighter winners after the prelims on Saturday. So check out the prelims if you want to know who winds up winning. And they could be some really good fights. I mean, Brad Katona is energetic as fuck, and Cody Gibson is definitely out there to win. And he does not like Brad Katona. They went through that during the episode as well. There was a big disagreement, a big argument, and Cody Gibson pretty much made it known that he does not like Brad Katona. So kind of a grudge match there. Not bad. So we'll see what happens with that. And then of course we had more Conor. Oh shit. Hi from Russia. What's up, bro? Holy shit. Got somebody from Russia in here. That's dope. Igor Sovitov. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't want to mess up your name that bad, bro. But he said hi from Russia, broski. What up, man? Thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. But yeah, Conor and Michael Chandler with the face-off. There's still doubt in everybody's head as to whether or not Conor is going to actually fight Chandler. But he laid out his plan. His plan is to fight to fight Michael Chandler first, and then fight Justin Gaethje for the BMF belt, and then get the trilogy fight with Nate Diaz. So that's what his plan is for the near future. Will that hold up? I don't know. I know H already said if he wanted to fight him for the BMF belt, he could, but he's got to get through Michael Chandler first. I don't know that he's got a lot to stand on if he doesn't beat Chandler. If Chandler comes out there and works him, that's going to be tough to get that BMF title, but I'm pretty sure he can still get the Diaz fight. So that trilogy has to happen, and I hope it does, but I want him to fight Chandler first and finish off what he started with Ultimate Fighter 31 and you know, get that kind of wrapped up. Oh shit. Hey, I appreciate that, Igor. He said good channel. I'm subscribed, so thank you. I appreciate it, and keep watching, man. I'll keep having good stuff coming out for you. Thanks for the support. All the way from Russia. That's dope. So yeah, that wraps it up for the Ultimate Fighter season 31. You know, it started off kind of good. It fell off a bit because Conor became disinterested. We had some really good fights at the end, though, so that brought it back up, and I'm excited to see what happens in the prelims of the pay-per-view this weekend. Cosner says my good brother Eljo is gonna snatch Sean O'Malley's neck. Yeah, hey man, you're not wrong, and we're gonna get to that in a few minutes, so stick around because I got some stuff to say about that one as well. But thanks for joining in. Yeah, anybody else got something to say or you know, a comment or a question or anything like that, jump in the chat with everybody else. I appreciate the support and the interactions. I like it. Let me know who you're going for, everybody, Eljo or Sean O'Malley. I got that preview coming up here pretty quick, but first we're gonna go over last week's event, UFC on ESPN 51, Vicente Luque versus Rafael dos Anjos. Not a bad card overall, but I will say that the undercard, the prelims, were better than everything. There was a lot of finishes in the prelims, but the main event, man, there was a lot of decisions. I mean, not a lot, but okay, there was enough decisions to be kind of like, damn, what happened? Because the prelims were fucking crazy. They were crazy. It was nothing. I think it was like maybe one decision. No decisions. They were all finishes in the prelims, which is badass. So I wanted to cover real quick what happened in the prelims because they were just exciting, man. It was a good prelim card. It's one of those rare times for the prelims outshine the main event, outshine the main card in general. So we'll start with Luana Santos versus Juliana Miller. Juliana Miller being a Ultimate Fighter champion herself from last season. She's usually a game opponent. She comes in swinging and ready to fight for sure. But and she gave Luana Santos something to think about with this big ass punch right here. But Santos, you know, answered the call, put some work in, and got the finish against Juliana Miller. Standing TKO. I mean, she didn't drop Miller, but she definitely put the work in on her. Got that TKO. First round finish, 341. Luana Santos with that win. Then we have Damon Blackshear versus Jose Johnson, and Blackshear became number 3 on the list of twisters as a submission finish in the UFC. Only the third person to do it in history. Bryce Mitchell being one, and shit, I just forgot the name of the second one. I just had it in my head, but I think Bryce Mitchell's actually gotten 2 twisters in the UFC at this point. But yeah, Damon Blackshear becomes only the third person to get a twister submission finish in the UFC in the first round. So big ups to him. That was a dope ass finish. And you'll see Blackshear's name here coming up in the prelims of UFC 296 or 296. Is it 296? No, 292. Getting ahead of myself. Not 296 yet. 292. Because he's stepping in as a late replacement. So he's going to be fighting for the second time in a matter of a week, in 7 days. He's going to be fighting twice, which is pretty crazy. So we'll go over that when we get there. But then we had Jacqueline Almarim versus Montserrat Ruiz. And yeah, this was a strawweight fight in the strawweight division. Hey, listen, you're not the only person to say that. I posted a TikTok video at one point in time, my reaction to Adesanya knocking out Pereira, and I had a couple people say I look like Tuivasa, which is funny as hell. So cool. I'm cool with that, man. I like Tai Tuivasa, and yeah, I mean, I guess I do look like him. I saw some pictures where I could see the similarities. I'm not as badass as Tai Tuivasa, but I appreciate the compliment. That's funny. Yeah, Amorim though wound up getting that submission, that armbar submission over Ruiz. Or I'm sorry, she got an armbar in, but she got the TKO to get the finish for that, which I don't know how Ruiz got through this armbar. It was pretty nasty. So yeah, moving on to Martin Buday versus Josh Parisian. Buday just put some work in on Parisian, which I wasn't expecting. I thought Parisian was gonna come out and, you know, be dominant in this fight, but instead he lost by submission in the first round by Kimura as well. So that was a nasty submission there. So Martin Buday with that win in the heavyweight division. Then we had Isaac Dulgarian versus Francis Marshall, and Dulgarian got a TKO in the first round as well. So as you can see, a lot of first round finishes. The women's fight, Amorim got that win in the third round, but so far out of all the fights, it's like first round finishes over and over and over again. This one as well, TKO in the first round. That's why this fucking prelim card was sick, man. It was just sick. I don't know what happened here, but all these fighters showed out and got finishes in the first round. This was a fight I was looking forward to, Terrence McKinney versus Mike Breeden. I like Terrence McKinney a lot. I listened to the Megan O'Leary podcast where what do you call it? She talked, it's called Becoming a Fighter. So she went over all of the backstory of Terrence McKinney's life, how he became a fighter, because he had some crazy issue with drugs at some point in time, wound up fighting cops and shit. I guess he was tripping on acid and mushrooms at the same time, kind of spun out, basically wound up dying on the table as they were trying to save him, and, you know, came back to life. He survived, and then he still got into some trouble and shit after that. But yeah, it's a cool podcast. It's called Becoming the Fighter with Megan O'Leary. Check that out if you want to. They did one on Tatiana Suarez too, and her crazy life story as well. She survived a lot of shit too, so check that out if you're interested. But Terrence McKinney's a bad motherfucker, and a lot of his fights are ended in the first round, and they're all by, you know, really good finishes, really exciting fights, and this was no different. We had him catching this kick here, and then turns it around, gets that TKO in the first round by punches, and he moves on to hopefully another good fight that leads him into something even better, because he's been on a roll and he's an impressive fighter, and I just like the guy. I think he's a great striker. He has a lot of potential, and I think he's on his way to doing some great things. So I'm hoping for the best for him. And then we had another fight where I didn't really know these guys too well, actually, which is weird. Marcus McGee versus JP Buys. I mean, I've seen JP Buys like once. I knew that he had a wife or a girlfriend that was a fighter as well, or is a fighter. Didn't know much about him, but this was another fantastic fight as well. Another first round finish, 2 minutes and 19 seconds in to the first round. It was a KO by punches, and McGee got the win. And you see here with that head kick, that wasn't the finish, but definitely got the KO in the end. And yeah, that was just another first round. A lot of first round finishes. I like it. That's when you're watching a card and you see the prelims and you're like, holy shit, it could do a couple things for you. It can either be like, this is fantastic, this is going to be some fucking great fights, it's going to keep going, the main card has a bunch of good fighters on it, and then you get disappointed because then you get a bunch of decisions. Some of them are boring. You don't keep up with the first round finishes over and over again. That's hard. It's hard to keep that going all the way through the card, but it was definitely exciting while it lasted. But we had, let's see, Josh Freemed versus Jamie Pickett was a unanimous decision win for Freemed. We had AJ Dobson with a unanimous decision win over Tafon Nchukwi. And then we got to some more exciting stuff. Yasmin Lucindo versus Polyana Viana. This was a pretty exciting fight. They went back and forth a lot. I was expecting a lot out of Viana, but Lucindo, she's just relentless. I watched her last fight too. I was just like, kind of like, this girl might be doing something here. But she's tough, a lot of big punches, and she got the finish by submission, arm triangle choke in the second round for Lucindo. Then we had Khalil Roundtree. I was excited for this fight as well because Roundtree, I don't know, there's something about Roundtree. The fact that I guess maybe back in the day he was like 300 plus pounds. He was just lazy, didn't do anything. You know, this self-admitted. This is all things that he talked about. And then he got himself into shape after just being sick of being a fat guy, I guess. And wound up becoming a pretty well-known UFC fighter. And he's doing decent for himself. Yeah, here he was fighting Chris Daukaus, who has had a kind of a shitty run lately. Him and his brother got released from the UFC, unfortunately, and it's looking like Chris Daukaus might be on his way out as well, because this is his fourth loss in a row, which he's coming. I think he went down from the heavyweight division to now the light heavyweight division, but in the heavyweight division he fought Derek Lewis, Curtis Blades, and Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Lost to all of them, comes down to the light heavyweight division and gets a loss against Leo Roundtree. All these are no joke, like big names, fucking, I mean, you can't down on him for that, right? He's got a lot of big names that he's lost to. At least he's been fighting big names. But yeah, 4 losses in a row usually means bad stuff for you when it comes to the UFC. But nice to see Khalil get that finish. He's going to move on. I'm sure he's going to get another bigger name in there soon. But that was also a first round TKO finish. And then we had Cub Swanson versus Hakeem Dawodu. Oh shit. Did I just mess this up? Sure did. Cub Swanson versus Hakeem Dawodu. This was a weird one because it looked all the way through. I mean, even though I'm highlighting Cubs, I'm highlighting Cub here a lot, which is a little weird considering Dawodu seemed to have done the most damage and gotten, basically looked like he got the win. But in the end, the decision went to Cub Swanson by unanimous decision of all things, which is kind of crazy because a lot of people thought for sure, including Cub. Cub said in the post-fight press conference that, you know, he thought he lost that fight too. And as you can see by his reaction here, he was like, nah, man. He was clapping, thinking, yeah, Dawodu got this win. And nah, they gave it to Cub. Kind of crazy. From everything I saw, I agree with Cub. It didn't seem like he really won. But that's a shitty thing for Dawodu to have to deal with and get that loss on his record. But the main event, Vicente Luque versus Rafael dos Anjos. Luque looked good in the entire fight. He got the win by unanimous decision as well. You know, he put in work. Nothing too crazy back and forth in this fight. It was just, it was what it was. It was unanimous decision. Luque comes out the winner. And, but you know, that's good for his record. He beat somebody with a good name like Rafael dos Anjos. So, that's that. Now we get to UFC 292. And this one is going to be good. I'm hoping it's good from bottom to top. You know, it lost some fights here and there. Cody Garbrandt out with an injury. think there was a couple other fights that were lost on this card. See if I can find that real quick, because I am kind of curious as to what the other canceled events were. Oh yeah. So we had Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal was supposed to fight Ian Garry, and that got canceled. But Ian Garry stayed on the card and is fighting Neil Magny. So that should be a damn good fight. There was some heat between them in the press conference today. So that makes for a little more of an interesting fight as well. But, you know, both of them are really good fighters, and there's a lot going on when it comes to those two. At the bottom, starting off from the bottom to the top, we have big names here. Karine Silva versus Marina Moroz. You know, if you watch MMA in the UFC, you probably know those names. They're fighting at flyweight division. We got Andrea Lee versus Natalie Silva. And then Andre Petrosky versus Gerald Mearshart. Like, holy shit, those are the early prelims. So I'm going to be watching from the get-go, because all three of those fights interest me. I like Marina Moroz. I like Andrea Lee. And Petrosky versus Mearshart as an early prelim? Fucking A. Not even on the prelim card, but the early prelim card. Then we move into the prelim card, where to start off the prelims, we have the Ultimate Fighter finale fights. It'll be Brad Katona versus Cody Gibson for the Bantamweight Ultimate Fighter title. And then we got Kurt Holobaugh versus Austin Hubbard as the second fight on the prelim cards. So right away in the prelims, starting at 5 o'clock p.m. Arizona time, because that's where I'm at, you'll get to see that Ultimate Fighter finale fights right off the bat. Hopefully they kick off this card in a good way. Following up after that, you got Gregory Rodriguez versus Dennis Tiulia. Oh man, fuck, I can't say that name. I don't even know how to say that name. I'm not gonna try. But to round off the prelim card, you have Chris Weidman versus Brad Tavares. Well, this is Chris Weidman's first fight back since he broke his leg. Fuck, I don't even know when that was. At this point, he was out for so long due to all of the issues he had with his leg, trying to heal it up because of how bad he broke it. Let's see, that was 2021. Yeah, April 24th, 2021. So it was the first kick he tried to put on Uriah Hall, and Uriah Hall checked it, and it just broke Weidman's leg. He had that compound fracture. His bone broke so bad that it cut through his fucking skin. He said there was blood everywhere. It fucked up a lot of his tendons and ligaments. So yeah, he had 4 surgeries in the process of coming back due to infections, complications with the healing process of the bones and all that shit. And this fucking savage comes out and says, the first thing I'm going to do when I get in that octagon is throw a leg kick. I'm like, oh shit, man. In the press conference today, he's like, yeah, I'm going to throw that leg kick, man. Let me get one in. He told Tavares, let me get one. I'll let you get one in. Let me get one in and make sure my shit's good and get past it so we can move on. I'm like, god damn. Motherfucker is different. I don't know. A leg break that bad? I mean, I know now he has like a steel rod in his leg, just like everyone else had it happen to him. You know, we have Anderson Silva, Conor McGregor. Conor still hasn't come back. But yeah, he's got like a steel rod in his leg now, or steel plate, whatever it is. But I don't know. We'll see how that turns out, because that's tough, man, and that's crazy for him to just want to get that leg kick out of the way. Oh shit. But no one else. Corey Hill back in the day was like one of the first guys to break his leg that way in the octagon. Anderson Silva, like I said, he wasn't himself. I mean, he was already kind of falling off when that happened, after he lost to Weidman the first time. He got knocked out. He wasn't himself already, and then he comes back and breaks his leg. So that sucks. But who else? Tyrone Spong in kickboxing broke his leg the same way and got a kick checked, and and snapped that shit too. After that, he wasn't the same either. He pretty much retired from kickboxing and now just does boxing. So it's interesting to watch what happens with these guys after they break their legs in that fashion. And I mean, I can't really say anything bad. It's tough to get back in there and do that again after something so traumatic. So good luck to Chris Weidman, man. Fighting Brad Tavares, at least it's a good matchup. It's not some young gunner coming out there to fucking smash him. It's two vets that are going to be technical and, tactical in the fight, and hopefully it'll be a good fight and Weidman will have a good time and be able to get over those first fight jitters after that traumatic ass fucking injury. So moving on to the main card though, Marlon Cheeto Vera versus Pedro Munhoz in a bantamweight bout. This should be pretty good. Pedro Munhoz has been looking pretty decent lately, coming off a win over Chris Gutierrez. He had a no contest, that accidental eye poke versus Sean O'Malley, who's actually fighting for the title in this card. I'm sure you know that by now if you're watching this. Before that, he was on a bit of a losing streak against Jose Aldo and Dominic Cruz, though. Two big names. Took him all the way to decision. He does have a lot of decisions on his record. So that's one thing that might not make this a great fight, but against Cheeto Vera, who is always out there just to kick somebody's ass, he's got some decisions on his record as well, including the last fight of his. He lost to Corey Sandhagen by split decision though, so it was still a good fight. He's always exciting to watch, so he's gonna make it as exciting as possible. He was on a four fight win streak before the loss to Corey. So yeah, like I said, Munhoz has good striking and is not shy. He's willing to mix it up with people. And then Cheeto with those crazy kicks, that nasty knockout of Dominic Cruz. It looked like a glancing shot and Cruz was out. And then he's got the big knees. He's always with the explosive strikes, man. Cheeto's always there to fight, and you're always going to get something good out of him. So we'll see what kind of a fight he puts up against Pedro Munhoz. I feel like he's a level above. I feel like he's that type of fighter that should be able to put Munhoz away. But you never know. Pedro comes out there, puts something, something kind of surprising on Cheeto, and Cheeto can handle it. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't go to the decision though, because that would kind of suck, and that might mean they neutralize each other, and maybe it's not that exciting. Next fight, Damon Blackshear, who just fought last week, like I said, against Mario Bautista. He got that crazy twister submission, and only the third person in history in the UFC to get that submission. And he is fighting once again a week later against Mario Bautista. Blackshear, like I said, got that win last week, and that was 2 in a row for him. So yeah, so he's on a 2-fight win streak, and he's looking to extend that this week against Mario Bautista, who is he's great on the ground. He's got a few submissions, including his last 2 wins being rear naked choke and reverse triangle armbar, which was this fight right here. So yeah, it's looking like he's got some TKO wins on his record as well. So I'm hoping these guys get out there, put on a show, because you're gonna get some submissions on the ground if it gets there, or you're gonna get some hands being thrown in on the feet, because it looks like both these guys are game to do it all. But those submissions, man, imagine Blackshear trying for that twister against Bautista, and Bautista turning it around on him and getting some kind of submission as well. They both have crazy submissions in their record for wins. Reverse triangle armbar, like what kind of crazy shit is that? And then you got Blackshear with the twister. I don't know. Should be interesting though. If it's a grappling match and it's a lot of transitions on the ground, I'm down for it because these guys are fucking all about this jiu-jitsu, and it looks like they both know what the fuck they're doing. Moving on, we've got that Neil Magny versus Ian Machado Garry. Yeah, Neil Magny being the late replacement because Jeff Neal got injured and was pulled from the fight against Ian Garry. Luckily, Ian Garry is a big name and got himself a good replacement for this. I'm not sure. I don't know how I feel about Neil Magny over Jeff Neal. Like, is it a better replacement? Is it a step up for Ian? I think either fight's a step up for Ian in the full aspect of things, but I don't know if Neil Magny is that. He's definitely a different fighter than Jeff Neal. So, but Ian Garry's down and game. He's fully into it, ready, talking mad shit to Neil Magny in the press conference. But Magny has fought some killers. He's got a pretty goddamn good resume. 28-10. His last fight being a win over Philip Rowe, and that was back in June. He's fought twice already this year, so this will be his third fight this year. Last fight he won by split decision. He lost to Gilbert Burns before that by submission. Beat Daniel Rodriguez by submission. Lost to Shavkat Rakhmonov before that by submission. A lot of either submission or decision wins here. So, but he, like I said, he's got a hell of a fucking record here between all of the people that he's fought. He actually has a win against Jeff Neal. He's fought Michael Chiesa, Robbie Lawler, Li Jingliang, all kinds of people. So, like I said, Magny is still a step up for Ian Garry as far as, an opponent goes. But, he's good on the feet, good on the ground, and you got to watch for those submissions because he will press you up against the cage, take you down, and beat you on the ground. Or, land some good punches on the feet too, but I think he's a little better when he puts that pressure on you and holds you down. So we'll see what Ian Garry has for him. He's got that impressive striking though. He is undefeated, 12-0. So he's looking to keep that going against a big name like Neil Magny though. He's coming off that win against Daniel Rodriguez with that crazy head kick right here. That was a nasty head kick, and that was back in May. TKO, head kick, and punches in the first round. Everyone else, Daniel Rodriguez is probably his most notable opponent. But like I said, that's why this is such a big step up for him in opponents. 12-0 overall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0 in the UFC. Looking to extend that against Neil Magny, get a big name under his belt, and continue moving up in the rankings. And working his way up to becoming a champ, because he's definitely got the talk going. He sounded like Conor in this press conference earlier today, talking mad shit, and all the things that he's saying, with that Irish I can't even think of the word. Oh man, I don't, not slang, not Irish slang, but Irish, what is the goddamn word? I can't even think of it. Whatever. You know what I mean? The way he talks, like, I can't, I don't know, I lost my words there. That's all right. Ian Garry, though, he's cool as fuck, too. I saw him at the Fan Expo, and, he was running around giving all kinds of people high fives and taking pictures and shit. So we'll see if he can get past Neil Magny on that one. And then we move on to the first title fight of the night. Co-main event. Strawweight championship bout. Weili Zhang versus Amanda Lemos. Now, Weili Zhang, she's a two-time champ. She lost the belt to Rose Namajunas and then won it back from Carla Esparza. And that was her last fight. Was against Carla Esparza to win that belt. So this is her first title defense in her second reign, I guess you could say. But she beat Carla by submission, and that was back in November of last year. But she does have that crazy striking. Oh, Jesus. Here we go again. I don't understand. Oh, I know why. Because I fucking pushed the wrong button. Yeah, she's beat people like Rose Namajunas. Or, I'm sorry, she hasn't beat Rose, but she beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Jessica Andrade, Tisha Torres, Jessica Aguilar, Danielle Taylor. A lot of big names. The only person she has yet to beat is Rose Namajunas, who has beat her twice. So, but like I said, Carla Esparza, former Ultimate Fighter winner herself, and the first, man, I am just having trouble right now with what the fuck I'm trying to say. The first strawweight title champ ever in the UFC. And yeah, she dropped it to a submission to Weili Zhang, which, yeah, I don't know if you remember, but that fight against Joanna Jędrzejczyk where she made her look like a fucking alien, blew up her head. I mean, that was horrible. And yeah, Joanna looked like an alien basically. It was insane. I think that was their first fight against each other. Pretty nasty. Jędrzejczyk is a warrior for getting through that one, but then she beat her again, KO by spinning back fist. So Weili Zhang has talent on her feet and on the ground, because like I said, she beat Carla Esparza by submission in her last fight to get the belt back. And yeah, that's that. Her opponent, Amanda Lemos, has been putting on a show lately as well. She's got her last win against Marina Rodriguez, TKO by punches. She's got some submission wins as well. Guillotine choke over the karate hottie, Michelle Watterson. Kicks and punches like this one against Angela Hill. That was a nasty front kick, which Angela Hill survived. Wound up going to a split decision. But, you know, when she lands stuff like this, it's pretty damn impressive. But she does have that submission game as well. Like I said, she submitted Michelle Watterson. So she is, she has a loss against Jessica Andrade though by submission as well. But yeah, she has multiple ways to do it. I don't know if she's at the level of Weili Zhang though, because Weili Zhang is just a fucking beast. And like I said, the only person she cannot beat is Rose Namajunas, who just moved up to the flyweight division. So, you know, did I get that wrong? I think I got that wrong. Oh yeah, flyweight, because this is a strawweight division. But Rose just moved up to 125, so Weili Zhang doesn't have to worry about her, at least for a while. I'm not sure how that fight's gonna go. I'm assuming Weili is gonna win that fight. I would bet on her for sure. I don't know that Amanda Lemos has what it takes to get past her. So that's it for that one. Now for the main event, Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. So this fight's kind of been in the works for a little bit because they've been talking mad shit to each other. Sean claims to not have any losses on his record, even though we all know he does against Chito Vera, actually. But Aljamain has been basically hated since he won the belt by disqualification to Peter Yan, who kneed him in the head, and Aljamain wasn't able to continue fighting because of how bad, you know, he was concussed. He was all fucked up, and a lot of people think he was faking it and all this other shit. So the respect is not there for Aljo. He gets booed all the time. But I feel like he has redeemed himself since then. I feel like he's proven himself to be worthy of the belt at this point, because, you know, he beat Peter Yan to get that belt by disqualification, unfortunately. But before that, he had 5 wins in a row, beating people like Brett Johns, Cody Stamann, Jimmy Rivera, Pedro Munhoz, Corey Sandhagen. And it was an impressive win over Corey Sandhagen. And then he fought Peter Yan. He fought Peter Yan, got the win by DQ, so that earned him the belt. And then he came back and fought Yan again, beat him again by split decision, which, of course, that didn't shut anybody up because everyone's thinking, oh, it was a split decision win. You barely pulled it out. Some people thought he didn't win at all. But, you know, he also beat Henry Cejudo. He beat TJ Dillashaw. Now, Henry Cejudo came out of retirement, so he hadn't fought in like 3 years. So everyone's talking shit about that, about how, oh, it doesn't matter. Henry isn't the same Henry. He's been out for 3 years. This is his first fight back, and then you beat him and you want to act like you're way better than him. But I feel like he outclassed the shit out of Henry Cejudo and made Henry Cejudo look kind of bad. So when it comes down to it, I feel like he's deserving of where he's at now. He proved himself over and over again, and I feel like he broke Peter Yan. Peter Yan has lost to Merab Dvalishvili, who's a beast, don't get me wrong. He lost to Sean O'Malley, which was a close fight, but I feel like what happened between Aljo and Yan just fucked up Peter Yan's career, basically, at this point. Maybe he'll have a resurgence, but right now, doesn't look good for him. As far as Aljo goes, though, you definitely want to keep him getting on your back because this fool will take your back. He calls himself the human backpack for a reason, and that's because he'll get that figure four leg lock around your body, restrict your breathing, and just wear your ass down. And then he'll take you to the ground, do some ground and pound, or sink that choke in, because if he gets that choke in on you, you're done. He's got a squeeze from hell, and you have to watch out for him taking your back. So Sean is not the best on the ground. He's not known as a grappler. He's known as a striker, and that's what he excels at. And I mean, he's good at it, but is he good enough to beat Aljamain after all of the adversity that Aljo has had to overcome and all the bullshit he's had to deal with and all the big names that he's fought in the octagon? I mean, can Sugar come out and do what he's done to, many other fighters, which is put it on him with pressure and get those dynamic strikes working and keep Aljo on his feet and outstrike him? That's about the only way he's going to win this fight. Because I don't see them, if they go to the ground, I don't see Sugar doing well. I think Aljamain's going to work him on the ground, get his back, or work the position and get him in a submission and submit him. Because right now, the only loss that he has, that Sugar has, is to Marlon Vera, which was a TKO by elbows and punches. He says that it was stopped too early. He doesn't consider that a real loss on his record. So, but he's got a lot of other stuff to go off of. I mean, I respect Sugar. I think he's good. I think he's a great fighter, actually. His last fight, like I said, lost split decision to Peter Yan. But he's beaten Pedro Munhoz, who's also on this card. Oh, I'm sorry, he didn't beat him. That was a no contest. That was an accidental eye poke. Munhoz couldn't recover from that eye poke. So, accidental. So it was a no contest. But that was in the second round. But he was looking pretty good against Munhoz in that fight. So, also, Sugar's like the first guy to come from Dana White's Contender Series. He was on the first season. He's episode 2 of season 1. So he definitely made his mark and made that show what it is. I feel like he's one of the main reasons why that show is where it is now, because of his success. They had Uriah Faber and Snoop Dogg doing the alternative commentary, like basically doing like a watch party stream during the Dana White Contender Series that year. And I mean, fucking Snoop Dogg went nuts over Sean O'Malley. He made all kinds of funny comments about him. He was screaming when Sean won, and then he smoked weed with him afterwards, and Sean O'Malley just got catapulted from that point on. And he's proven himself in the UFC. He came in and he was undefeated until he met Cheeto. He beat Terrion Ware Andre Sukuntoth, Jose Albert Quinones, Eddie Wineland, which was a nasty fucking knockout. And then he lost to Cheeto, but then he beat Thomas Almeida, Chris Montano, which that was tough though. Montano was a tough guy to beat. It was a late replacement fight for Sugar, and he gave him a fight, that's for sure. He hung in there with him. But Rulian Palva, and then the no contest Pedro Munhoz, and then the win over Peter Yan. So Pedro Munhoz and Peter Yan were really like the biggest names he's fought. One was a no contest, and the other one was a split decision win that a lot of people thought, you know, Sean O'Malley didn't win. So it's tough, man. His strength of schedule doesn't look good compared to Aljamain Sterling's, and it seems like maybe the experience isn't all there, not as much as Eljo's is. So I don't know. I don't really know what to think about this one. I know that Sean is an underdog, but he has those strikes. He has that power. He's a big, tall, lanky guy, and he's got power behind his punches, and he's put a lot of people out. And he has these, you know, moments that he always capitalizes on. And he's a showman. He knows how to work the crowd. He knows how to make himself look good. He's done well for himself. He drives around a fucking crazy pink Lamborghini. He's an Arizona boy too, so I mean that helps with me. I mean, my daughter loves him. She thinks he's dope. He's a smoker too, so it's like, fuck. He's cool as shit. That's all there is to it. I just don't know that he can beat Aljamain Sterling. I really don't. I think Aljo is at the top of his game right now. I feel like his confidence level is skyrocketing. I feel like he has more tools to beat O'Malley with than O'Malley has to combat anything that Aljamain throws at him. So for me, if I had to put money on it, I'm going with Aljamain Sterling. And it would suck to see Aljo lose his belt and not be able to wind up getting the recognition and the praise that he should get after everything he's overcome and all the shit. Everybody still hates him. I would hope that he could keep his belt long enough to become that babyface at some point in time and have people say, okay, he's proven himself, let's give the dude a break and let him enjoy his time. I think he's enjoying his time anyway. I just think it's a little early for O'Malley. I feel like he needed a couple more big names under his belt before getting this fight, and I feel like that might hurt him in the end. I don't know that he's been able to get enough experience. He's never had a 5-round fight, or he's never been 5 rounds, I should say. So, yeah, it's tough, man. But O'Malley can come out. He could catch Aljo early, stumble him, and break him down, and maybe expose him. I don't know. It's a toss-up, man. It's tough for me because I like both these guys. I know a lot of people don't like Sterling, but I do. I appreciate what he's done. I appreciate how he's overcome all the bullshit, and I appreciate where he's at in his career right now. I also met him at the Fan Expo too. He was dope. He was cool. Yeah, and I've heard lots of interviews with him, and I like him, but I do like Suga as well. So this is a tough one for me. I can't really say right. I feel like Aljo's gonna win, but I don't have a favorite. I'm here just to watch it, be entertained, see what happens. It's gonna be good. Don't miss it. And that's it for the UFC 292 preview. Thank you everybody for joining in. I appreciate everybody. Igor, Kozner, you guys are cool as shit, man. I thank you guys for hanging out and subscribing and stuff. I appreciate that. DJ Magix and Tommy, I appreciate you guys. Those are my boys from the Rumble Podcast. Check out the Rumble Podcast. We go live every Sunday and Tuesday at 7 p.m. Arizona time. So same time this started is the same time that podcast goes on wherever you are. On Sundays and Mondays. So if you want to hear me talk about current events, pop culture stuff, TV shows and everything like that, check it out, the Rumble Podcast. Go to therumblepodcast.com or the Rumble Podcast YouTube channel here and check it out Tuesdays and Sundays. Frankie, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining in, man. Yeah, don't miss the fights. You got a couple PFL things going on this weekend. You got tomorrow night, got some PFL. Wednesday, you got PFL. And then, I'm sorry, Saturday, I got sidetracked. Saturday night, you got the big UFC pay-per-view, 292. Should be good. 2 title fights. That's it for me. Don't forget to watch next week. I should have a guest on next week. I hope. I'll check in and see what the boys are doing. Maybe get a good recap of 292 and go over that banger of a fight night card we have going on for next weekend as well. Check it out. Come back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Right here on YouTube. And if you want to listen to any of my older stuff or listen to the audio only version of this, I put it out the same night. Go check it out. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. And that's it. So take it easy. Enjoy the fights. Don't miss them. Catch me next week. I'm out. Peace.